So it looks like the developers are actually sticking to their schedule. They're posting 24 hours after the last leak, as you can see here, yesterday at 1900, today at 1900 on the 6th of April on the Sunday. Now obviously this is my time, whereas GMT +1, 7 o'clock for me when I was on a train. But luckily I can get home and edit these videos. As you can progressively see, they're about the afternoon time for me and the morning for the developers slash early afternoon for when they are posting it. So if you are doing a leak sit out for these leaks, basically, you should wait until about 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time or 5 to 7 o'clock GMT/London time, because this is where the leaks are apparently being posted around. Also, I just noticed these leaks were posted 3 minutes before the hour, whereas these leaks were posted on the hour. So I don't know what happened here. I don't know why developers posted it three minutes early, but fair enough. Anyways, moving on to the leak, we have, well, Devil Duck. Or Evil, actually. The file for this is called evil.png, so this is Evil Ducky. Now, it'll probably surprise you, it actually won't surprise you, actually, that this is a returning enemy from the Duck Hunt event in 2022, that being the Evil Ducky, as literally the same name as this file. Evil Ducky, as you can see, red eyes, red horns, black body, orange shoes, yeah, orange shoes or orange feet, yes. This is Evil Ducky, except its eyes are slightly different. These are more, arrowed, whereas these are more circular in shape. But it's unmistakably Evil Ducky, given the fact that I believe it's one of the few black ducks, that sounds wrong, black ducks in the event. I mean, you have Operator Ducky and Spy Ducky, but that's it. Evil Ducky was one of the other black ducks in this game. However, interestingly here, it's holding a trident. Now, the thing with the Evil Ducky here is that it doesn't have like a trident or anything like that. It didn't even have an attack. It was just a slightly higher health Ducky enemy, which in the grand scheme of things is very confusing given the fact that the Fat Ducky exists. I mean, yeah, Fat Ducky didn't have as much health as the Evil Ducky, but the Evil Ducky didn't have any abilities, didn't have any attributes, didn't have like lead, ghost, flying, hidden, whereas something like the Operator Ducky did have hidden and it had more health. The only thing with the Evil Ducky is that it was quite fast. 3.5 for a duck was actually quite fast here. Like, for example, the Flying Ducky only had a speed of 3, and I would consider that quite fast, whereas the Cool Ducky, I think, was the fastest. Yeah, 5.5. So it's not the fastest, but when you compare it to, say, Ducky, which had a speed of, well, actually 3.5, so it's the same speed as the Ducky. Okay, Fat Ducky, what's its speed? 3. Okay, so maybe thinking about it, maybe the Evil Ducky didn't have as much speed as I thought it would. Yeah, Operator Ducky, 3. So, as I stated before, an upgraded version of Ducky, basically, with no more attributes other than that. And like Ducky unit here, it actually had more health than this, and it had the same speed as this. So yeah, it's just a weaker version of the Ducky unit. So what was the point of the Evil Ducky? Who knows? Furthermore, in the promotional images back in the Duck Hunt event 2022, before it was posted, you can see that it does actually have a trident here. However, the Evil Ducky did not have a trident in the game. Now, it could be the case where this is scrapped. After all, developers are actually known for scrapping a lot of things from the Duck Hunt event. For example, I believe there was something called the Baby Ducky then, and various other unreleased Duckies was seen in the Duck Hunt event, including a Rollerblade Ducky. I wonder if this article has it. Yeah, as you can see, a Lead Ducky, a Rollerblade Ducky, and a scrapped Penguin enemy. So it shows that developers had some stuff in mind for this, but they never reached the final game. Whether the Evil Ducky's trident is lost media or was just for promotional images, we'll have to wait and see. But this does mean that even though the Evil Ducky here has a trident, we can't really infer too much from it, because the previous leak in 2022 had a trident, but the trident wasn't ever seen in the game. So this trident may never ever be seen in the game. But it is glowing neon, similar to its eyes. So who knows? Speaking of glowing eyes, yes. Is that P3NGU, whatever its name is? I'm calling it Pingu. Why, yes it is. It's a penguin enemy. And guess what? There was a penguin enemy previously. It was called, Pingu. Officially, P3NGU. It's named after Pingu, basically. Except the 3 is borrowed from a game that must not be spoken of, and its name is similar to Pingu, originally broadcast for Swiss television, then later British television. So I don't actually know how Americans got hold of Pingu. Furthermore, when first shown on Paradoxum Games Twitter, it was actually leaked as P3NG Penguin, instead of just Pingu. Anyways, this shoots lasers, even though it wouldn't be obvious where the laser come from. No, it comes from its mouth, not its eyes. So this leak starts to make sense when you consider that, because it looks like, if you take this Pingu here, for example, you can see the laser coming out of its mouth, and the eyes are glowing as well as its chest plate or something like that. Now, the P3NGU doesn't have a chest... Well, it does have a chest plate previously, but it doesn't have anything glowing on its chest plate. So, could be a remodel design of what was seen in 2022. Also, notably, the P3NGU back in 2022 is not red. The glowing elements here, they're actually yellow. And the laser, I believe, is yellow, or actually, it could be red. Whatever the color laser is, the model isn't actually red, whereas here it is very clearly red. Now this could just be the background of this image, or the theme of this image, given the fact that the evil Ducky is actually taking part of, well, most of the screen time here, even though it was not a significant enemy in 2022. What makes us believe it's going to be a significant enemy in 2025 other than this leak? It could be the fact that this duck is the one reviving everything, but then again, it doesn't look like a boss. These Pingu enemies here, they seem more of a boss than this enemy here. In any case, you can see that the P3NGU here got slightly different eyes, and the laser that comes out of its mouth is still actually present here, except this one's red instead of yellow, as seen here, as you can briefly see there. And it does have a glowy thing on its chest. Furthermore, something I would like to point out is that its flippers here, they look more like legs than flippers. As you can see here, they're flippers, quite evidently. Here, they look like extended legs that are actually attached to the body. Now, the thing with the Ducky enemies is that, yes, their feet are like the whole body is floating above the feet of the duck, which entirely intended. People said it's like, wow, weird design decision. No, that was the same as like 2022. The feet, for the most part, were floating above the body. It's just that the feet are like really close to the body anyways, which is probably going to be the case in the game. Oh, except for the Fat Ducky. Fat Ducky, its feet was very close to its body, but Ducky, you can evidently see its feet not attached to its body. Is it weird? Probably. Did anyone notice it before the leaks? No. So why is it a big issue now? Also, noticeably, the background is actually not discernible compared to the other backgrounds, which were discernible, like a giant bathroom or giant books, for example. Also, with the previous video that I made on this, I may have confused the elf camp and the mercenary base just a tiny little bit. Yes, like, this is how confused I am, basically. One is obviously an explosive Ducky, one is obviously an RPG Ducky. One could be from the elf camp, one could be from the mercenary base. They're not going to be part of the same unit if this is part of a unit leak. It's not a unit, it's not a skin even. Why would the developers leak a skin in event leaks? They haven't done that before. Why would they do it here? This is very evidently Ducky enemies. Furthermore, on the Twitter and probably on YouTube, it says face off evil Ducky or evil ducks, not even Ducky, evil ducks in the upcoming Tower Defense Simulator spring event. Very evidently, all of these leaks are for Ducky enemies, not some unit that's going to be in the game as part of like an elf camp skin or a mercenary base skin. Neither options are actually viable. No, these are all enemies. Now, if you ask me, there's actually very few enemies that could be left for a leak, given the fact that P3NGU was actually considered like a mini-boss of some kind. And like the next high health enemy after that was Ducky Doom, basically. Yeah, Ducky Unit and Long Ducky had high health, but not in comparison to P3NGU nor Ducky Doom. So it could be the case where Ducky Doom is the next leak that's being posted as like a render, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Because let's not forget, this is a weekend. I predicted this. The developers would post on both weekends, Saturday and Sunday, of leaks for the spring event, purely because no one's at school or at work or anything. We can build a lot of hype for these. Now, it could be the case where Ducky Doom is going to be the next one leaked on a Monday or Tuesday, and the event is going to be all of a sudden brought upon us, and it's going to say, oh yeah, by the way, it's going to be released on Tuesday this week. Could be the case, given the fact that 2 weeks ago was the last major update. Yeah, technically a week ago was the April Fool's update, but I don't think the developers count that. I don't know how much effort they actually put into that for that to count as a weekly update. So it could be the case where tomorrow, or no, not tomorrow, Wednesday is when Ducky Doom is going to be released, the Duck Hunt event or the spring event. Interestingly, they've gone for the spring event moniker rather than Easter event. So even though previously they referred to it as the Easter event, it looks like maybe it'll be releasing early, which actually was the case for the Duck Hunt event in 2022. It released slightly early before Easter, which gave developers enough time to actually add the engineer tower into the game. Yeah, you may forget it, but the engineer was actually leaked, or actually made alongside the Duck Hunt events, because developers finished it like I don't know how early they finished it, like a couple of months early or a couple of weeks early, so they had time to work on the engineer. That's because they didn't have an event tower to work on. Now, given the fact that ever since the Duck Hunt events, there's always been, like for the major events at least, there's been an event tower. I assume there has to be an event tower for this one. Like, I know in the Duck Hunt event for this one, they said that not all events will have towers, and technically speaking, in a literal sense, not all events have towers. For example, the Hunt Mega Edition event didn't have a tower, Tower Defense Simulator X Please Donate didn't have a tower, nor did the Classic event. But you could argue that they weren't major events in such case like Operation Ice or Hexscape or the Hunt. No, the Hunt didn't even have an event tower, but Krampus Revenge, Lunar Overture, Violet Night. You have to go all the way back to Duck Hunt for a non-sponsored event. I mean, technically Skibidi is also non-sponsored, but it only lasted 7 days. The last major event with a battle pass and everything, Duck Hunt event, the last event without an event tower. So, yeah, I would safely assume, at least for now, that there is going to be event tower in this event, which also does mean that I think there's going to be a battle pass in this. And if anything is to go by, yeah, there'll be a premium side of things as well. And we all know how the community thinks of premium stuff, even though it doesn't actually give you anything worthwhile. Not like golden skins or something to progress in the game. It's just a cosmetic. Enjoy the plentiful harvest of bread, grapes, and lemons. Yeah, I forgot. That's what Ducky, Doom, and everyone was going for. That middle center bit where they were all going for like the bread. The giant bread. Yeah, this giant bread. Could be the objective here, but then again, we're seeing like bathrooms and stuff like that. So either the next video I make for this is going to be like a Ducky Doom leak, which I'm assuming is going to happen, or it's going to be some other random duck. It might be some other random duck, but we'll have to see on that. It might not even be tomorrow, given the fact that it's not a weekend tomorrow. Less hype, you see. So developers may go back to 48 hours, as was the case between the first and the second leaks.